If I Were a Bird, a high reach learning book for threes and pre K for March 2021. If I Were a Bird, written by Heather Drackelman and Chris Sciarino, dedicated to Courtney Stahl, and designed by Jonathan Pistolis. Sometimes I wish I were a bird so I could fly in the giant blue sky. I would rise on the wind and glide on the breeze. If I were a bird, I would fly above the clouds and then dive into them to see what they felt like against my feathers. I think they would tickle a little. I wish I were a bird so I could slide down a rainbow and catch all the colors. Then I would be colorful like a peacock or a parrot. If I were a bird, I would be a very tiny hummingbird. I would whisper to the flowers and tell them they are beautiful, and the flowers would let me drink their nectar. I wish I were a bird so I could fly over the ocean. I would fly as close to the water as I could without getting wet. Then I would see a fish and dive in the water to catch it with my beak. If I were a bird, I would fly to the highest branch I could find. I could sit on that little branch without breaking it. I wish I were a songbird so I could sing as loud as I could for everyone to hear. I could chirp and tweet and whistle so my song would fill the air. If I were a bird, I would pretend that the worms were spaghetti. If I were still hungry, I would fly to bird feeders and eat the seeds that people put there for me. I wish I were a bird so I could fly far, far away from my home to see what's out there. Then I would fly back home because I would miss my family. If I were an owl, I could turn my head all the way around and see things in the dark. I would say to myself, "Who do you think you are?" I am a kid, and I am glad I am me, but I can pretend to be whatever I want to be. I wonder what it would be like to be an elephant. This peaceful story takes the reader through one child's desire to be a bird. Birds capture children's curiosity and sense of wonder. To a young child, a bird might symbolize freedom, simplicity, or easy living. Birds just do what they do without anyone telling them, which is very intriguing to children. Here are a few ideas for how to share this book with your children. As you read this story, share ideas about what it might be like to be a bird. What would it be like to fly? Where would you go? Go bird watching and talk about what birds do and why. Or even create your own bird book about the birds you see, or a book about what you would do if you were a bird.